Good day everyone, my name is John Jericho R. Jose from BID2K, here to explain to you our lesson for today, which is on-board diagnostics. But first, what is on-board diagnostics? On-board diagnostics, OBD for short, refers to the automotive electronic system that provides vehicle self-diagnosis and reporting capabilities for repair technicians. An OBD gives technicians access to subsystems information for the purpose of performance monitoring and analyzing repair needs. OBD is the standard protocol used across most light-duty vehicles to retrieve vehicle diagnostic information. Information is generated by the engine's control unit, or ECU for short, within a vehicle. They are like the vehicle's brain or computer. OBD is the important part of telematics and fleet management, making it possible to measure and manage vehicle health and driving. Thanks to the OBD, fleets can track wear trends and see what vehicle parts are wearing out faster than others. Instantly diagnose vehicle problems before they occur, supporting proactive rather than reactive management. Measure driving behavior, speed, idling time, and so much more. A brief history of OBD. The history of onboard diagnostic goes back to the 1960s. Several organizations set the groundwork for the standard, including the Society of Automotive Engineering, SAE for short, the International Organization for Standardization, ISO, and the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA. It's important to note that before standardization, manufacturers were creating their own systems. The tool from each manufacturer and sometimes models from the same manufacturer had their own connector type, electronic interface requirements. They also used their own custom codes for reporting problems. In 1968, the first OBD computer system with scanning capability was introduced by Volkswagen. In 1978, Datsun introduced a simple OBD system with limited non-standardized capabilities. In 1979, the Society of Automotive Engineers recommends a standardized diagnostic connector and set of diagnostic test signals. In 1980, GM introduced a proprietary interface and protocol capable of providing engine diagnostics through an RS-232 interface, or more simply, by flashing the check engine light. In 1988, standardization of onboard diagnostic came in the late 1980s after the 1988 SAE recommendation that called for a standard connector and set of diagnostics. In 1991, the state of California required all vehicles to have some form of basic onboard diagnostic. This referred to as OBD1. In 1994, the state of California mandated that all vehicles sold in the states are starting in 1996 must have OBD as recommended by SAE, now referred to as OBD2. This stems from the desire to perform across-the-board emission testings. OBD2 included a series of standardizing diagnostic trouble codes, or DTCs for short. In 1996, OBD2 became mandatory for all cars manufactured in the United States. In 2001, EOBD, or European version of OBD, became mandatory for all gasoline vehicles in the European Union. And then when 2003 came, EOBD became mandatory for all diesel vehicles as well in the European Union. In 2008, all vehicles in the US are required to implement OBD2 through a controlled area network specified by ISO 15765-4. Types of OBD. OBD1, the Diagnostic Trouble Code, or DTCs for short, of OBD1 vehicles can usually be found without an expensive scan tool. Each manufacturer used their own diagnostic connector, DLC location, DTC definitions, and procedures to read the DTC from the vehicle. DTCs from OBD1 cars are often read through the blinking pattern of the check engine light or service engine soon light. So I have remembered that in one of my friends' Mio Mio I, the check engine light also blinks, and it's very similar to the OBD one of the lesson here, as the blinking engine light also indicates what's the problem of the engine. By connecting certain pins of the diagnostic connector, the check engine light will blink out a two-digit number that corresponds to a specific air condition. That DTC of some OBD1 cars are interpreted in different ways. However, Cadillac fuel-injected vehicles equipped with an actual onboard diagnostics providing trouble codes, actuator test, and sensor data through the new digital electronic climate control display. ALDL. GM's assembly line diagnostic link is sometimes referred as a predecessor to or a manufacturer's proprietary version of an OBD1 diagnostic. This interface was made in different varieties and changed with powertrain control modules, aka PCM, ECM, or as we all know, ECU. Different versions had slight differences in pin outs and baud rates. Earlier versions used a 160 baud rate, while later versions went up to 8,192 baud and used bidirectional communications to the PCM. OBD 1.5 refers to a partial implementation of OBD2 which General Motors used on some vehicles in 1994, 1995, and 1996. GM did not use the term, OBD 1.5 in the documentation for some of its vehicles. Simply have an OBD and OBD2 section in the service manual. For example, the 94 and 95 Corvettes have one post-catalyst oxygen sensor, although they have two catalytic converters, and have a subset of the OBD2 codes implemented. The pinout for the ALDL connection on these cars is as follows. So you can screenshot it if you like. For ALDL connections, pin 9 is the data stream, pin 4 and 5 are ground, and pin 16 is battery voltage. An OBD 1.5 compatible scan tool is required to read code generated by OBD 1.5. Additional vehicle-specific diagnostic and control circuits are also available on this connector. For instance, on the Corvette, there are interfaces for the Class 2 serial data stream for the PCM, the CCM diagnostic terminal, the radio data stream, the airbag system, the selective ride control system, the low tire pressure warning system, and the passive keyless entry system. OBD2 is an improvement over OBD1 in both capability and standardization. The OBD2 standard specifies the type of diagnostic connector and its pin out, the electrical signaling protocols available, and the messaging format. It also provides a candidate list of vehicles, parameters to monitor along with how to encode the data for each. There is a pin in the connector that provides power for the scan tool from the vehicle battery, which eliminates the need to connect a scan tool to a power source separately. However, some technicians might still connect the scan tool to an auxiliary power source to protect data in the unusual event that a vehicle experiences a loss of electrical power due to malfunctions. Finally, the OBD2 standard provides an extensible list of DTCs. As a result of this standardization, a single device can query the onboard computer in any vehicle. This OBD2 came in two models, OBD2A and OBD2B. OBD2 standardization was prompted by emission requirements, and through only emission-related codes and data are required to be transmitted through it. Most manufacturers have made an OBD2 data link connector, the only one in the vehicle through which all systems are diagnosed and programmed. OBD2 diagnostic trouble code are 4-digit preceded by a letter P for powertrain, B for body, C for chassis, and U for network. The OBD2 specification provides for a standardized hardware interface, the female 16-pin 2x8 J1962 connector, where Type A is used for 12-volt vehicles and Type B for 24-volt vehicles. Unlike the OBD1 connector, which was sometimes found under the hood of the vehicle, the OBD2 connector is required to be within 2 feet of the steering wheel, unless an exemption is applied for by the manufacturer, in which case it is still somewhere within reach of the driver. EOBD, the European On-Board Diagnostics regulation, are the European equivalent of OBD2 and apply to all passenger cars of category M1 with no more than 8 passenger seats and a gross vehicle weight rating of 2,500 kilograms or less. First registered within EU member states since January 1, 2001 for petrol engine cars, and since January 1, 2004 for diesel engine cars. The technical implementation of EOBD is essentially the same as OBD2, with the same SAE J1962 diagnostic link connector and signal protocol being used. With Euro 5 and Euro 4 emission standards, EOBD emission thresholds are lower than previous Euro 3 and Euro 4. JOBD is a version of OBD2 for vehicles sold in Japan, and ADR 7901 and 7902 is an Australian ODB standard with the same SAE J1962 diagnostic link connection and signal protocols being used. But this is an Australian version, so that's the only difference. It's from Australia. How to use an OBD scanner. Before we start, you should know if the car you are working on is an OBD1 or OBD2 type, because you can't use an OBD2 scanner on an OBD1 era car, so check the manufacturing date of the car. Locate the diagnostic link connector. If your car was manufactured after 1996, it features a diagnostic, like I've said, DLC or OBD2 port. This is a 16-pin connector located on the left side of the driver dashboard underneath the steering column, usually covered with a door flap. Number 2. Connect your OBD2 code reader or scanner to the DLC. After locating the DLC, make sure your car is turned off. Plug the end of the OBD2 scan tool into the diagnostic link connector with an OBD2 connector cable. If you own a Bluetooth OBD2 scanner, directly insert the scanner into the OBD2 port. Next, check the scanner instruction on whether you should keep the car in on or idle mode after connecting to the DLC. This step is important because following the wrong method can damage the scan tool app. Follow the correct instructions allows your scanner to communicate with the car's computer. Confirm the connection to your OBD2 system by checking for a message on your OBD2 scanner. Enter the information requested on the scanner screen. Your car has a vehicle identification number or VIN. Depending on your scanner, you will have to enter the VIN before it can generate any OBD2 code. The code scanner may also request other details like your engine and model type. If the scanner requests it, you can find the VIN on a sticker, normally in the lower corner of the windshield on the driver's side. Other place includes under the hood next to the latch and at the front end of the vehicle frame. 4. Access the scanner menu for OBD codes. Now go to the code scanner menu screen where you can pick between the different car systems. Select a system so the scanner can show every active and pending code. What's the difference? An active code triggers the check engine light while a pending code indicates a failure of an emission control system. Remember, a recurring pending code can become an active code if the same issue keeps popping up. Note, the car code reader or scanner display varies depending on your scanner type. Some will reveal only a problematic diagnostic trouble code, while others let you choose which OBD2 code you want to see. 5. Identify and understood the OBD codes. More on this in future slides. 6. Move on to trouble code diagnosis. The OBD scanner or code reader tells you what's wrong with your car, but it can't tell you how to fix the problem. So figure out if the error code implies a minor issue or not. Reset the check engine light. Once your car issue are fixed, the check engine light should turn off after driving it for a little bit, but you can always use the OBD2 scan tool to erase a code immediately by going to the main menu of your OBD2 reader and find the check engine light option. Then press the reset button. Give it a few seconds or minute and the engine light should turn off. Note, you can't use the scan tool to erase an error code and stop the check engine light from lighting up temporarily. If the issue isn't fixed, however, the check engine light will illuminate again since the problem still exists. How to read an OBD code. Now this is the exciting part. Interpreting OBD codes. OBD codes may seem complex, but underneath the letters and numbers, you can identify the general cause of your lit check engine light, allowing you to take the next necessary steps. Step 1. Break down your code into sections. The first section is the first character, which is always a letter. The second section is the next character, which is a single number from 0 to 3. The third section is the third character, which is a single number from 0 to 9. The fourth and last section includes both the fourth and the fifth characters together, so it is a pair of numbers from 00 to 99. Explanation of OBD2 diagnostic troubleshoot. You can screenshot this if you want. This is the letter, the first number, the second, and the two conjoined number. Fault description. Determine the meaning of the letter. There are 4 possible letters that can be displayed in the first section. The letter P indicates powertrain-related code such as those involving the engine or the transmission and their sensors. Typically, P codes are the only ones that will illuminate the check engine light. So, the check engine light will only illuminate if a P code is triggered, which is in the engine and the transmission. The letter B indicates a body code, which means it relates to a body system such as the airbags. There you go. Letter C indicates a chassis code used for systems such as the anti-lock brakes. Okay. Letter U indicates network codes, which are used for problems like module failures and loss of communication. Note, only professional grade or dealership scan tools are able to diagnose codes outside of powertrain codes. Step 3. Determine if the codes are Society of Automotive SAE codes or manufacturer specific. This is indicated by the first number of the sequence immediately after the letter. SAE codes are generic codes that apply to all makes and models. SAE codes are indicated within a 0 as the second digit. Manufacturer specific codes use a number other than 0 as a second digit. In general codes, that begins with P0 are generic codes. Concerning a powertrain issue where codes that begin with P1 are manufacturer specific. There's the difference. You can screenshot this if you want. Step 4. Determine the system code applies to the third number sequence refers to the system that is affected. A1 indicates fuel and air metering system problems such as an issue with the mass airflow sensor. A2 refers to a fuel or air metering injection system issue such as a fuel injector pump. A3 indicates an ignition-related problem such as an engine misfire. A4 refers to emission system problems like a catalytic converter efficiency issue. A5 indicates A5 indicates vehicle speed control and idle control system problem. A6 refers to computer output circuit issues like an internal computer failure. The number 7, 8, or 9 all indicates transmission-related problems like pressure faults and sensor failures. Step 5. Determine the exact fault. The last 2 numbers provide a description of the fault codes. Tips. You will want to address the top DTCs first if there are multiple codes in some cases. The codes lower down on the list may be symptoms of a code higher up on the list. Thank you for listening.